America's most trusted bedroom newscaster, which explains why he isn't wearing any pants. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Barlow. Reporting live from New York City, this is WYOY Weekly News, and we hate to interrupt your planned night of comedy with a voiceover that sort of explained what's going on, but it's been a week, ladies and gentlemen. And so reporting live, I'm Chris Barlow with our top story. I'm talking, of course, about James Comey, who was unexpectedly fired Tuesday night after a pair of time travelers from the future got the year wrong. They were so close, though. Well, as we all know by now, the White House claims that Comey left the position, or was removed, rather, due to his involvement with the Hillary Clinton email scandal last summer. And this makes perfect sense to me, because, as we all know, Donald Trump is a great defender of women. So many different slides. But what I meant to say was Donald Trump is a great defiler of women, which puts us in an awkward position, because who can replace James Comey if he was removed because he may have been investigating the Trump campaign's ties to Russia? It would have to be somebody who he or she would go into the job, he would go into the job knowing that if he continued to investigate, he may soon be fired. Well, who could fit that bill? The short list includes Trump loyalists like Rudy Giuliani, or, if he's not available, a racist vampire. Just the same. But our sources in the White House tell us that Trump's TV habits could lead us to a surprise announcement. For example, if he channel surfs past the CW at just the right moment, we might luck out and find ourselves with FBI Director Jughead Jones. Ooh, he'd be good. But no matter who they choose, all of Washington cannot stop talking about this major story. It has overtaken the entire news cycle, and it even seemed to catch Trump's own team off guard, including Trump Press Secretary Sean Spicer, seen here in happier times. Spicer made news when Tuesday night it was reported that he was hiding in the bushes in order to avoid press. Now, the White House has taken issue with this, so we should clarify. The Washington Post sorted this out the next day and issued the greatest correction in the history of journalism. You see, Sean Spicer wasn't hiding in the bushes. He was huddled among the bushes. For truly the bushes are Spicy's only remaining friends. Oh. Well, Comey was notified of his dismissal through a letter that was delivered by Trump's personal bodyguard to no one, I guess, because Comey wasn't there. In fact, Comey was in another part of the country where he discovered his own termination from cable news, much like how we will all discover America's termination from cable news later this fall. It's going to be a good one, guys. Now, we're looking at perhaps an unprecedented and possibly unconstitutional event, although Trump seems to believe that Democrats were going to rally behind his decision. Don't know why he thought that, but instead, Democrats are comparing this to the Saturday Night Massacre, which, of course, was when Richard Nixon fired his own special prosecutor. Therefore, you may consider this a Nixonian act. Now, that is not good optics for the White House, so they raced to quickly dispel any consideration of Nixon by staging a press event with, fuck, it's Henry fucking Kissinger. Yes. The president decided to surprise the press by answering questions about Comey's dismissal with Richard Nixon's Secretary of State. Which, again, makes perfect sense, because nothing says drain the swamp like a one-on-one with the country's original swamp creature. Well, it wasn't all bad news this week, though. There was some good news out in the world. But before I go on, I have to make a confession, guys. This has just taken over my entire week, and honestly, I have to admit, I thought living through Watergate would be a lot sexier than this. I mean, look at it. Oh, that is what I'm talking about, guys. Why can't we have that? And, don't get me wrong, Jake Tapper is great, Love Jake, but let's be honest, Jake, you're not really much of a DILF. And besides, Jake Tapper looks like he has an ulcer from too much coffee and not enough sleep, instead of having an ulcer from chain smoking and drinking on the job. That is journalism. It's just like we're getting all the bad parts of the 70s without any of the good parts, like cocaine, lead paint, and being able to pull off this look. That was a look. Well, there was some good news this week, though, although we had to leave the country to find it. France elected Emmanuel Macron their president last weekend. Big Macron fans here, I can tell already. Yes. And this was a big deal for a lot of people. Personally, it was a big deal for me because it means that my geopolitical slash fiction is going to be so hot this year. But other people were excited because Macron decisively defeated Marine Le Pen in the election. And you may have seen people sharing a meme like this one here. Yes, that's a tweet with Macron, Justin Trudeau, and President Trump. And it says something along the lines of, "Just so unfair." Saw this meme a lot this weekend. And, you know, generally, I do agree. It is unfair that we got stuck with the rapey one. But if you want to think on the bright side, this is the easiest game of fuck, marry, kill you'll ever play. Well, in tech news, simple segue there. In tech news, Amazon unveiled a new Alexa device with a screen this week, which is a huge advancement for voice assistants because it finally removes the need to use your voice. That's really great, guys. Wow. Well, that's all for this week's news. And live from New York, Chris tries to review wine. It's Chris tries to review wine live at the PIT Loft with special guest tasters Jon Esquivel from My Weekend Tinder, Kate Densen, special guest appearance by Chris's mom, musical guest Bruno Mars, and your host, the man who puts the lot in Merlot, Chris Barlow. Oh, thank you guys. Wow. It is so great to be here tonight, and it is so great to know that I'm really good at video slides. I feel really good about that. And you know, I should say, that was this week's news, and it was a very newsworthy week, so I felt like we kind of had to cover the news. But I do cover the news every week on WYOY Weekly News, and this week's episode, I got a comment. A YouTube comment! I know, please, everybody, this is the most exciting thing that happened today. I got a real YouTube comment within hours of posting the video, and it is a rave review, let me tell you. Just lay off the gay stuff. Well, I really want to thank Brother Joseph, and I am really happy that he didn't see the original version of this week's news, which included a whole segment on the new South Korean president's unbelievably handsome bodyguard. I mean, I suddenly care so much more about the fate of the Korean peninsula. Wow. Not enough to include it, though, because again, we had to cut for time. But there's something else we have to talk about this week. Something that was already going to happen, if we can just remember. Mother's Day. Oh, we love our mothers. Or not. But either way, Mother's Day is this Sunday. And Mother's Day means one thing to me. Brunch. Because, you know, brunch is a hallmark of so many American holidays. Mother's Day, Memorial Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All great brunch holidays. And Mother's Day is a time to really celebrate any mother in your life. Be it your real mother. Yeah. Oh. Or your imagined mother. Or soon, the handmaids that will be forced to birth us when President Pence is sworn into office. Fills me with warm, fuzzy feelings. Well, I hope all of you have big brunch plans this weekend. Your mother or wife or mistress will definitely thank you. But I'm a little bummed, guys. I'm gonna sit down, I'm so bummed, because I can't spend Mother's Day with my mother this year. No, thank you, you know. But I had this thought. I was like, well, why bring Mother's Day to her when she could bring Mother's Day to me, her fully grown son? Yeah, I'm a giver, guys. And so, I hatched the perfect plan that involved a little secret trip to Chicago, Illinois. There I am, drinking my favorite airplane wine. Wenti. Wenti. When you don't know what else to drink, you can drink Wenti. And that reminds me, it's time for this month's wine tip. Wine tip number 2 has everything to do with wine on an airplane. Because you see, the best wine is airplane wine. Yeah. How do I know that, huh? Well, let me tell you how I know that. Because, number 1, you are trapped on an airplane, so what else are you going to do but drink? And number 2, free things taste good always. This is science, guys. Science has proven this. So, what would taste better than free airplane wine? Yes, I can see you got it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing would taste better than that. So, this month I have a special pro tip for you. Oh my God, look at that transition. Wow. How do you find the free airplane wine? Well, you could pay for first class, but who are we kidding? This is Trump's America. So, instead, follow my advice and always fly an off-brand airline. You see, you get all the amenities of an old-fashioned airline with just a little bit of thrill because you don't quite know if you're going to make it to your destination. Good tip. If the gate is so far away from security, you must take an Uber to get there from the security line. That is a good airline. If it looks like it's held together by minivan parts, that is the flight for you. And no matter how concerned you are, remember that all those concerns will melt away when you're drinking a minibar-sized bottle of Merlot. That's just video of me on this flight. It was a good flight. So, now that we've sorted out all the ways that we can really savor some good airplane wine, I think it might finally be time to talk about why I went to Chicago in the first place. You see, my mother was there, and I needed to take as many selfies with the bean as humanly possible, because that is law in Chicago. After I did that, though, I thought, well, I'll spend some time with Mom. She's great. And soon you'll see how great she is, because I thought, okay, what I really want to do is bring her wisdom to you. This is the woman who has taught me so much about wine over the years. How can I get her here tonight if she's not really here? Well, you've got the right idea, because I have now for us, live, via satellite, my mother. There she is, guys. Oh, I forgot to mention she doesn't like to be on camera. So I installed a hidden camera. So now we're going to learn all of her secrets tonight, even though she doesn't know that we're here. It's going to be great, really. And if you're concerned about privacy, don't worry. The FCC repealed all of that anyway, so it's all good. But we'll check in with her in a little bit, because there's something else I want to talk about first. From lovers to mothers, or mothers to lovers. Transition. Transition. It would have worked if I'd said it the right way the first time. So, tonight we have 2 very special tasting guests with us, and the first one knows a little something about Tinder. And that is a transition that made sense in the first draft of this monologue when it was about Tinder. But now, it's about Tinder anyway, because we're going to welcome up our first tasting guest tonight, Kate Densen. Just sit, please, have a seat. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay.
You can hold it, you can not hold it, you can just shout, you can talk loudly. It's a really small room. This is really overkill, I know. I'm not going to stop, though. So, Kate.
I'm just going to project that.
Oh, you're like a trained actress. Well, you do a podcast.
I do.
So you have to know how to be heard.
Yes, the microphone does most of that. Okay.
Well, you're skewing that now, I see. What's grown? How have you changed that you feel free?
It's a really good question. I'm not sure. Hold on.
Great, I think that's the answer. So, Kate, tell me a little bit about the podcast. Why Your Week in Tinder?
Well, to be fair, it's not just Tinder. It is all online dating apps. And actually, you were there when I came up with the idea. You probably don't remember because I brought you mimosas because you were sick.
Yes, that's correct, and it makes perfect sense.
I thought I had some really terrible experiences, and I was like, how can I get my experiences out into the world for people to commiserate with me and say, oh, that poor little white girl, she's so sad.
Don't we all wish we could say that a little more often? Well, let me ask you something. You see you do multiple platforms here. Which one is the worst?
The worst?
As a straight woman, which I acknowledge, very different.
Yeah, I'd say the worst is actually Bumble, which is supposed to empower
Really?
women. Yes.
Do tell.
I got mansplained on Bumble. Yeah.
About
no,
what?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just, what the man told me was that women message guys and it's easier for them, they don't have to put any effort in, whereas otherwise, men just message women if they want to A, sleep with them, or B, there's two options here, put the note, like the message in their head subliminally that they might want to sleep with them one day.
That's deep. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that gets me excited for what could happen in my life tonight, because I have a special assignment for Kate here. But first, to explain what's going to happen tonight, we are all going to taste some wine together. I'm drinking the red, Kate's drinking the white. All of you should have a glass of wine in your hand. Still. And in just a minute, we're going to learn how to taste this like an amateur wine professional. But I have to hide Kate first. Why doesn't really matter, because we have an isolation chamber here. It's on loan to us from NBC's The Wall. The Wall, everyone's favorite game show, that combines everything you hate about 2017, xenophobia and Chris Hardwick, with 2017's favorite pastime. Screaming. So, I'm going to send you back there into the isolation chamber while we meet Jon, but I'm going to send you back with a special mission. You see, my phone is already in the isolation chamber, queued up to Tinder, America's other favorite game. And so I'm going to have you play my Tinder in the hopes that in the next 10 minutes, you can find me a date. Yeah, no joke, guys. I have given her the keys. She is taking charge. So, I'm going to take you back to the isolation chamber, and when we return, it'll be just like the lightning round on the wall.
But with sex.
Except there also is no lightning round on the wall, but with sex! Yes! So we'll be back with more of that right after this. And now it's time for another wine tip with Chris's mom. Hey, Chris's mom, what's the difference between a Pinot Gris and a Pinot Grigio? And now you know the difference between a Pinot Gris and a Pinot Grigio. Thanks, Chris's mom. Back to you, Chris. Thanks, Chris. And thanks, Mom. Now, I want to thank all of you. Because, you know, doing a live show is always a little challenging, and we have surprises that come up along the way, and yet you're all here trusting me to lead you through this sacred ritual. I'm talking, of course, about drinking wine. And it is finally time for us to taste some wine. So, ladies and gentlemen, in order to explain proper tasting technique, please introduce our second guest tonight, Jon Esquivel. Oh my goodness, hello there. I've seen you before. Jon, hi. Doesn't always work. Well, you know, this is what we learn.
All right.
It's just like life, tasting wine live in front of an audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you learned? You've been on the show before. We've done this before. What have you learned?
A Merlot is just a Merlot, no matter what.
That's really deep, actually. That's very true. Merlot is just always a Merlot.
And TV was the only good thing that happened last year.
That is also true. We did discover that. That was in our 2016 holiday special. Yeah. In fact, I think I don't have a clip, I have a still because, it's been lost to time. But we do have one relic. Yeah, there it is. That seems to capture 2016 pretty well for me. I'm not sure what the pig represents. Hope. Oh. Well, I've learned a lot tasting wine with you, too, and I'm really excited because you get to share what you've learned here. You've been sipping a little bit of the wine.
I haven't.
You haven't? So really, this is it. You're going to taste it for the first time right now.
First time that I tried.
This is history in the making, ladies and gentlemen. A constitutional crisis outside and the first taste ever inside. Wow. Well, in order to taste this, I need to tell you about proper tasting technique. And what is proper tasting technique? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I know you did. And proper tasting technique is how you can look like you know what you're doing, even though I know none of us know what we're doing when we drink wine. And in order to show you how it works, Jon, come on up here. Jon is going to be my Vanna White, so to speak. So beautiful. And he is going to show us exactly what we're going to do when we all taste the wine together in just a moment. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, we begin, as always, with the sniff. Very important. Be sure to sniff the wine as loudly as possible. Like that. You need to be sure everyone around you knows you are about to taste some wine, right? And you need to get their attention, their focus, so that you can move on to step 2. Say the first thing that comes to mind as soon as you sniff. Sniff, and say. Sharpies. Sharpies. Ooh, that's a good note. Now, quickly, step 3, stick your nose back in the glass of wine. Before I can ask you, what did you mean by that? Too late. Now you're ready for step 4, the sip. In the sip, make sure to move the wine around your mouth, making sure to move your whole face, really, as much as possible. This is how people know you are really tasting that wine. Remember, face equals taste. Emily, if you would. And then you're ready to spit the wine out. And this is important. You need to always make sure you taste your own wine before spitting it into the mouths of any children who may be tasting the wine with you. Safety first. Everyone else can just swallow. Great? How was that? Good? Yeah? Yeah, that's about as confident as it should be. I think that means we're ready, everybody, to taste this wine together. Who's drinking the red tonight? Woo! Oh my goodness, that's so many people. Now, we're going to begin, and when we do the sniff and the say, I really want you to say as loudly as possible, what are you smelling? Are we ready, ladies and gentlemen? Let's go. And say.
Beets, flour.
Beets, flour, flour, vinegar. Ooh, beets, flour, vinegar. What did you get there? Kind of got like an old ice maker. Like at the hotel, hasn't been cleaned in a while.
It smells like my aunt on Sunday.
Oh, well, how timely for Mother's Day. Okay. Are we ready to sip? What do we think when we sip it and move it around our mouths? Yeah, come on. Oh. Okay. Still kind of tastes like an ice machine to me.
2-day-old cough syrup.
2-day-old? Oh, yes, actually, I totally get that. Does anyone else get 2-day-old cough syrup? Yes. Oh, wow. This is really going to help with my allergies, I think. Already. Well, this is supposedly a Pinot Noir, and I love a good Pinot Noir. And this is also a Pinot Noir. So I really enjoy being here and tasting it in front of you all. That's an accurate statement. Do you enjoy sitting here, tasting it in front of me? That is about as good as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, wine is about the experience more than the flavor. Wouldn't you agree? That sounds about as good as I could have hoped. So, I feel good about this red tasting. You feel good about this red tasting?
Yes.
Pretty good. Yeah, yeah. Any last thoughts you want to add? No. It's not a Pinot Grigio, John, but nice try. In a moment, we will try some Pinot Grigio, though. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yeah.
Yeah! That does mean we need to go check on Kate, though. How is she doing in the isolation chamber? I wonder.
Pretty positive I got 2 right.
Oh God, I think we left her in there too long. John, why don't we go check on Kate? We'll be right back after this. And now it's time for another wine tip with Chris's mom. Hey, Chris's mom, what's the difference between those 2 Cabernet Sauvignons? And now we know the difference between those 2 Cabernet Sauvignons. Wow. Thanks, Chris's mom. Back to you, Chris. And look who I found back in the isolation chamber. She is looking good. Not as scary as I thought for a moment there. But now's the moment. I have to know. Do I have a date?
Maybe.
Can you show me? What do we got?
This person,
Oh, responded. Whoa.
Basically, I just told everyone, he's cute, right?
Oh, he is cute.
But I realized I was swiping based on like people I find attractive.
Okay.
We might have different tastes in men, I don't know.
Oh, we should have discussed that first. Well, no, you did okay with him. He looks okay. And this one? Oh, okay.
He's sitting on a rock there, which I don't love.
Okay, we do have very different tastes. But all right, progress.
He didn't understand the show.
He didn't understand why you were in an isolation chamber. I wonder why.
Honesty is really important.
Yeah, no, I made sure we were not deceiving anyone, I want you to know. We were honest. She's in an isolation chamber like you do.
And I told them I wasn't you.
That's fine. I'm glad.
So,
But so far it looks okay. You could have lied. I would have been okay with it.
no one else responded.
That's fine. We didn't give you that much time. I'm impressed we got any responses at all on a Friday night. These
What the fuck
people
are these people doing?
don't have lives. So, high hopes, guys. But hey, that reminds me. You have an infamous, not Tinder, what is it, OkCupid?
It was OkCupid.
Yeah, I asked Kate, do you have like a screenshot of the worst message you had ever received on online dating? And of course she does. So, Emily, can we cue that up?
Do we have to?
Yes, Emily, think of the children. Thank you. Oh, wow. Can you read that for us? or should I? Oh, please.
It's my favorite. His PP went hard because he may.
That is really beautiful.
You know, the major issue I have with it is the use of the word PP, honestly. The rest
Yeah.
of it's fine.
Yeah,
right?
gotta be, yeah.
It's just like,
It's a little disconcerting.
you're a grown man.
Wow. Well, hey, these messages were all better than that. So thank you very much. And I think that put me in the mood for a little bit of wine. Yeah, that means it's time for our second tasting of the night. We're going to taste the Pinot Grigio. Woo, yes, some of us like white wine. I do because I'm my mother's son. So we're going to taste this white wine and go, it's a Pinot Grigio. That's about all I know about it. And we know the proper tasting technique because we already did it, right? Whoa. Whatever you're drinking, just drink some more now as we go through the proper tasting technique. Put it up on the big board. And tell us, what do you smell?
Batteries.
Batteries. Now sip and move it around your mouth. Oh, copper. That seems accurate. Ooh, straight through the nose, ladies and gentlemen. Who else got straight through the nose as their tasting note? That is really good. Wow. Well, that was so great. We lost her. She gone. Whew, beautiful. That is the most to-the-point review I could have asked for. Ladies and gentlemen, the mystery Pinot Grigio, we do not recommend it. Oh, wow. Does anyone else have any tasting notes that they want to share? Sounds about right. Well, that was amazing. We knocked out 2 tastings in a very short period of time. You all now know how to bullshit with the best of them when you go to order some wine. How does that feel?
Great.
Great. One really, and yes, my work here is done, ladies and gentlemen. And that means you've all graduated. You finally are professional amateur internet wine experts. It's time for you to get your graduation bubbles. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Jon Esquivel, and in the audience, a mysterious man handing you bubbles. That's right, you get bubbles, and you get bubbles, and you get bubbles, because you are the true champions of tonight. You have won the game of life. You are now grown people who spent your time here at the PIT Loft on a Friday night. I hope you feel good about that choice. Woo! Oh my God, you actually do? I didn't expect that at all. Well, that's great because you can spend more of your time here at the PIT Loft next month because we're just getting better at this every month, guys. On June 23rd, it is our big Gay Pride Weekend extravaganza where, I hate to tell Brother Joseph, we won't be laying off again. I'm sorry. But we will have some pretty fantastic guests and more wine to drink, and almost everything will be brand new. So if you liked this, even a little bit, come back and do it again. And until then, well, I learned a lot tonight. So did all of you. And I guess that means it's time to say goodbye. I'll see you all, if you care to join me, at Pioneers. It's an okay bar just to the right. All right, everyone. Good night.